Hello and welcome to the Top Contractor School Podcast, where we're dedicated to helping you achieve extraordinary growth and success by supplying you with the tools, resources, and support necessary to not only build profitable businesses, but to create a lasting impact on your families, companies, and communities. I'm Eric Guy, Director of Learning and Development at TCS. And with me today is actually one of our own one-team gentlemen here. I thought I'd have him on, Mr. Ryan Yorgen. Welcome. This is your first one, right?
It is an honor and a privilege to be here with you today. I was thinking about this, preparing before coming on. I have shot, edited, produced, hundreds, like a lot of podcasts. But this is the first podcast that I've ever been invited on to host, guest, which means you either see something in me that no one else has seen, or you're just crazy.
Yeah.
So,
Or very desperate.
Or
no, we are not desperate.
Or desperate.
At all.
You'll know by the end of this episode which one it was. But
no. So one of the reasons that I did bring you on, Ryan, especially for our community, the TCS community, is like contractors aren't too up to speed. I mean, some of them are. Some of them have been around with us for a while. But why media is so important? And let me give you guys just a little bit of background here with Ryan and his team. For those of you who don't know, like your role in one team media and what you're able to do with what contractors do to bring it to life. And I mean, you've been around the gamut. You've been a couple different places. So it's interesting to me how you can take you and your team, how you can take what we do as contractors and make it come to life for our, not just potential clients, but for the clients themselves, so they can come back, be repeat clients, but also, and I really want to talk about this because this is what I do, for potential employees.
yeah,
And why that is so crucially important right now. But, I've kind of labeled this podcast as why contractors can't ignore media anymore. And I don't think they can.
No, absolutely not.
If you're going to grow. But first, what drew you into TCS?
Oh boy. I mean, it's been a crazy journey on
or
how
one
I
team,
got
one,
here.
I should say one team.
It's all right. That's all right. So, it all started off, and I think, a lot of creatives have a similar story of, at some point in time, I had a grandma that bought a digital camera for the family. I was in maybe the first or the second grade, and that was it, right? Like, that was the kind of thing that whet my appetite and said, okay, I'm interested in this, and, joined the tech team in elementary school and all of these kind of nerdy and geeky different things. And, in high school, I was fortunate enough to have TV production classes that I was able to take, and some mentors there that said, you can actually make a career out of this. You can go out there, and if you're good at video production, you can make a couple of bucks and you can live and support yourself off of it and make a career. And so that's what I did. I had a great support system that believed in me and said that you could be anything that you wanted to be, and that's kind of how I wound up here.
Yeah, and you've been a couple of different places, so you've got some really good experience. I don't know what I would call them in your office. I see. I don't think they're trophies, but you've won a couple things for your work.
Yes. So I have won 3 Emmy Awards. There's like 5 more nominations. I don't talk about the 5 nominations that I didn't win for, but I have 3 Emmy Awards for work that I've been able to produce over the past couple of years. I got my career started with the Pittsburgh Penguins, an NHL team, and then I made an odd transition into the banking and financial services industry. And people have always kind of scratched their head and say, okay, so how did you go from hockey, professional sports, the NHL, to banking and financial services, and now you're working at, One Team Media as the director of production, production company and agency. Like, how have you done all of this? And, at its core, my job and my task has always remained the same, which is I am to tell the story of the brand that I'm working for, right? Mm-hmm. My job at the Penguins was to tell the story of the team. It took a lot of different shapes, sizes, and forms, right? Part of it was, behind the scenes content, executing partnership activations, producing commercials that would air on television. When I went to the banking and financial services industry, it was the exact same thing. You are telling the behind the scenes story of what that bank is doing in the community, impacting customers, organizations that we would donate money to. What is the culture like in the office? Going back to, talent acquisition, how are we highlighting the success and how, we could be a place for someone to come in and grow in their career. Mm-hmm. And then, commercials that would air during the Olympics and different things like that, to now being able to bring that 10 plus years of production experience to, one team media.
Yeah. And so for those of you that don't know, I guess I should back up for, you're listening to the TCS podcast, Top Contractor School. Explain to the folks that might not know, Ryan, how you work with TCS.
Yeah.
So your team.
We've got a great partnership where we will partner with TCS members to produce content for them, social media content. And so that could be anything from photo, video, graphic design, really helping to establish and maintain your identity online to do two things. One, reach a new audience, attract new customers, and then two, retain your current customers. Keep yourself front and center at mind of, what it is that you're offering and, how things may change.
Yeah. And so let's just jump in and address the elephant in the room. Why do you think, I mean, I have all my opinions, but why do you think so many contractors ignore media or maybe undervalue it?
I don't think the answer that I have, I don't think is specific just to contractors. But I think there's businesses in every area of business that don't see the value in social media and in content. Mm-hmm. And that can be for a variety of reasons. And the biggest reason is, and I think particularly for contractors, is a lot of people say the best way for me to get my business is through word of mouth recommendations. Mm-hmm. And that's absolutely the truth. Like, I will not sit here and try and convince you otherwise of it. My wife and I, and this is a applicable story here for the podcast, we were in the market for a retaining wall. That's like a luxury item. It's not make or break. It's not a leaky pipe. Like, if we didn't do it, there's no consequences had we postponed it or whatever. Our neighbor ended up redoing theirs and we're like, wow, this looks great. Okay, let's maybe think about it. And, oh, we recommend this guy. He was great. He came over, gave us a price, and that was it. I mean, we didn't even get a second estimate, right? To this day, I could not tell you his name. I could not tell you his company, other than he showed up, he did a great job, and he left. And he gave me a cash discount. That's all you can ask for, right? Like, that is by far and away the best way for you to get customers. But how do you get customers that aren't word of mouth recommendations? That's where things start to get more tricky. And, for myself as the consumer, I turn to Google, hey, I'm looking for retaining walls, mason, whoever it is, near me. And once you get to Google, you run into a couple of issues. How are you able to verify and validate that a business is trustworthy? Because at the end of the day, particularly in an age of, AI taking over, how do you know that someone is real and legitimate and this is someone that I can trust to come in and execute on whatever these services are and that they're going to give me, a fair price and, there's not going to be an issue with it? Well, Google has some tools to help you with that. One can just be like reviews. How many reviews do you have? Mm-hmm. If you have 10 1-star, 3-star reviews, okay, that's going to be a red flag for me. We've got 500 plus 5-star reviews. That's going to be a good sign. But there are all of these ways that people go out there and they try and verify that your business is real and legitimate and that you should do business. It could be from how high you're ranking in Google. What does your website look like? Are you showcasing the work that you're doing? And the work that you're doing, are you showcasing it in a way that's positive and flattering? Are they high quality images? Are they high quality videos? What does your social media presence look like? One of the best ways that social media can help companies grow their business is by staying relevant and showing that they're constantly busy. When you go to a new city and you're walking around, you're like, okay, we need to find a spot for lunch or dinner. One of the best ways to find a restaurant is to say, oh, this restaurant's busy. There's people in there. Yeah. Okay, these people know something that I don't know. I didn't need to pull up my phone and read the reviews. It's packed. I want to eat there. Everyone else knows something that I don't know. Social media gives you the ability to say, hey, we're doing all of these projects 24/7, 365 days a year. Okay, well, now that's a business that I want to do business with. We just had a call with someone in the construction space. They haven't posted in over 6 months. So now as a consumer, I go out there and I look at it and say, have you done business in the past 6 months? Mm-hmm. How busy are you? Now, granted, this individual said, I'm too busy. I don't have time to do the social media thing. Okay, that's fair. But for me, the customer standpoint, I'm saying, are you actually open? Are you doing, are you doing work?
Yeah. So that leads me to my next question is specific to contractors. What mistakes have you seen, or what are at least the top mistakes when it comes to creating content or being on social media or not being on social media? What are the common mistakes or pitfalls that they run into?
It's simple. Not doing something. It really is.
It is. Yeah.
Anything is better than nothing when it comes to content creation. I mean, just going out there and taking, this could be as simple as 3 photos, a before, during, and after shot of whatever project it is that you're doing, can go a huge way in showcasing what it is that you are doing, right? Don't underestimate the power and the influence that social media has on people and their purchasing decisions.
Yeah. Especially like projects and things. People like to see the beginning and the end, like you said. Like they like to see that. And I don't think contractors, I think because we're in it every day, we don't really appreciate like, oh, I like to watch, that being done, or how did they do that, or
Correct.
because it puts
Step
a
by
picture
step.
on our mind. It
Yeah.
creates a story,
Yeah.
and stories are important. For somebody listening to this and they've not done anything, or they know it's important, they kind of know it's important, what would you say would be the kind of the first steps? What's the easiest place to begin?
I mean, anything is better than nothing, like I just said. and truly, I would recommend, it could be a before, during, and after shot of a project. It could be as simple as you taking some cell phone video. And again, this is part of the beautiful thing is if you are listening to this podcast right now, chances are you're listening to it on a cell phone, some streaming device. And that cell phone probably has a pretty decent camera, which means you're equipped and qualified to go out there and start producing content, even yourself. Show up on a job site, take out your phone, film a couple clips, walk through the process. Like, what are you doing today, right? You could create a series out of it and say, we're here for the next 3, 5, 2 weeks or whatever it is. This is what we're doing today. Walk people through that process. Like, how long would something like this take? What would it cost to do something like this? Kind of paint that picture, tell the story of this is how we execute these services. Because then for me as the consumer, I go out there and say, well, these folks are doing it on a daily basis. They're pros at this. I get to see this and understand how, the sausage is made to some extent.
So let's jump into kind of that idea of how should contractors think about using video to close deals and attract customers?
So social media is driving purchasing decisions in consumers. It just is. And I'll give you an example here. And so this is an example that is relevant. It does not speak specifically into the contractor space, but track with me here. So my wife and I, we welcomed our firstborn almost 6 weeks ago. And so as a new dad, I have to bring it up on the podcast. That's just like, it's a requirement. I was like, okay, how do I bring this in here? And so when you're going through, welcoming a child in this world, there's all of these things that you need. I mean, stuff like I don't know what half of it is, but there are all of these things and we need all of them and they're all important. And there's 9,000 different options that you can go with. And so we're in the hospital and one of the consultants comes in and they're talking to my wife about, things that we need at the house and everything. And they're like, I recommend X, Y, and Z. These are, my 3 recommendations and, goes over the pros and cons of all of them. And then my wife chimes in and she's like, no, I want this one. The specialist is like, oh, that's actually the last one on my list. Like, I wouldn't recommend that at all. My wife's like, no, that's the one I want. She's like, can I ask you why? She's like, TikTok. The poor specialist, like, she was so frustrated by it because she's going out there and she's like, I have this master's degree. I've spent all of these years in education and now in the field and I know all of this stuff. And my wife went out there and said, no, I trust the opinion of someone else on social media that I've been following that said that this product is good and that's the one that I want, right? So at the end of the day, people are turning towards social media to make purchasing decisions. It could be buying baby goods. It could be finding a retaining wall, whatever that is, right? People are turning towards social media to make purchasing decisions.
What do you say to the contractors who aren't necessarily comfortable with that? And I went through that back in the day, man. I didn't like, I look at what we've done with podcasts now and think back to the day where I would just go kicking and screaming. Like every excuse I would make to not do it or anything like that. Now it's just like you jump into it. You jump into creating content. There's so many things you can do, like you said, just with your phone. And I don't think people are looking for perfection. They just want to know. It's the knowledge, like you said,
Correct.
right?
It is, how are we establishing you, your company, your team, as an expert in whatever industry it is? There are massive strategies taking place at some of the companies that I previously worked for of how we can leverage our employees by putting them on social media to establish themselves and subsequently, the organization as industry leaders in whatever industry that is, right? Maybe you're not comfortable being on camera. This is my first podcast.
Yeah.
I was a little reluctant, right? Did I give you an immediate yes? I was like, I'll do it, but you sure?
You're doing a great job so far.
Okay. There's plenty of time for it to go sideways, but a little out of my comfort zone. There's plenty of things that you can do with content where it's not focused just on you and yourself. Maybe you bring in your team. Maybe you've got someone that loves social media and that could be a part of it. Maybe it's not you physically being on camera. Maybe you're just doing a voiceover that's over top of some clips. There's tons of creative ways that you could integrate yourself and your company into your work and showcase who it is that you are, what it is that you do, and why you're experts in it. That doesn't necessarily have to take you too far out of your comfort zone. One of the great things that we've just seen working with folks at TCS is how comfortable they have become, right? Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Week 1, month 1, maybe even year 1, it's going to feel a little awkward. You're going to go out there and be like, I'm talking to my cell phone in my truck. Little strange. After a while, it's second nature, like anything. As long as you're open to it, you'll see the return.
So what would you say to the contractors who are like, hey, how do I balance who I am with what I'm going to do? So how do you help contractors stay authentic to who they are? Because I think we see a lot in social media. You see all these wildly charismatic people, and that's not most contractors. Nor do I think we want to be.
No.
But how would you encourage them to still do that and create content? And how would you encourage them to just be themselves? On camera, off camera, whatever.
Just be realistic. The way I like to do it, and hopefully what we're trying to now, pretend like the stuff's not even here, right? The camera, the mics, the lights, whatever it is, you pretend like none of it's here and you're just having a conversation. It may sound goofy because you're having a conversation with your phone alone. Over time, it will get better and a little bit easier. But that's the key to being authentic, is that you just pretend that you're having a conversation and don't change who you are. That's people can sniff that out from a mile away. As soon as you start being phony, you start taking a different personality than you're used to, just be yourself. That will resonate with people. Chances are, if they're hiring a contractor, they are not looking for someone that is, overly wild and, charismatic and dynamic. You know what I mean?
Don't need that.
Exactly. It's not what they are looking for at all. Chances are they want to hire you for exactly who you already are. So just showcase that and just pretend like none of it's here.
Yeah. And a couple of our contractors do a great job at this. I mean, they've been doing it for a while, but they will tell it kind of started slow and then they build on it, but they remain true to who they were. And I can think of a couple right off the top of my head that are, very introverted, didn't want to do it, but they're great at their work. And that's what people want to see.
Yeah.
And that's what's getting them. And they're getting they're getting that feedback, especially in an environment, pretty much anywhere. It's hard to find a really solid contractor. Right. And I feel like if you're putting yourself out there constantly and doing those things consistently, constantly, that what happens is you want to get better at your work because you're showcasing that. Right. So typically, not all the time, but typically the people that are doing that are paying attention to what's going on. So you're getting better quality, but it's easier to find them. It's going to be easier for people to find you. I mean, I get so frustrated when I'm looking for something right now and I can't find that specific niche where I'm at, and all I have is maybe a phone number or something. There's nothing I can really search to give me that. It would be nice to just say, oh, this is what this person does. This is what, this is the work that they do. And I'm not sure where my if I had a question or just a comment, but it was more so back to your point, is just the authenticity of, hey, you can do it. And the first few might not be great, but they're better than doing nothing.
Correct. And people are going to be more willing to listen to you for giving it a try than not doing anything at all, right? I like to think of social media like that's your doormat. That's the first thing that people see when they're walking up to your business in a lot of cases, in a lot of situations, right? How are you introducing yourself to other people? Do you have a welcome mat out? And I've got a neighbor a couple doors down that has a go away mat out. And it's hysterical, right? But really, what do you want people to see, and how do you want them to first interact with you as a business? That's what you can do on social media.
Yeah.
And you can immediately say, hey, when you pick up the phone, this is the person, when you pick up the phone and you dial us, this is who on our end is picking up the phone. Here's a name with a face. Here's the experience that you're going to get when you call in. Here's the expectation. And you know what? People are comfortable with that. A lot of times, particularly in the contracting space, someone like myself may go out there and say, I have a project, and I'm not sure if this is in your size or scope. Is it possible for you to do X, Y, and Z? Am I too crazy? I don't know. It's an idea. I don't know how to execute it. And I'm trying to find someone who can, right? Showcasing your work on social media is a way to prove that and say, oh, if you can do that, then you can definitely do what I'm doing. Or, yeah, that's the exact same thing that I'm looking for that you're already doing.
Let's bounce into something that's near and dear to my heart, especially when it comes to social media now, is putting yourself out there to get the right people.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about clients now.
Yes.
I'm talking about employees.
Yeah.
I know one of the things that kind of drew me here too was how interactive Brian, TPG, and One Team were. And, we kind of had a little bit of that in common. I was able to follow that, look things up and go, oh, that's something that I want to be part of. But what would you say to those folks? Because I think it's so, so important. And we've seen, from my perspective, right, I've seen the results of this where you're doing great content and it's easier to get people, not just some people, the right people with the use of social media.
I know for myself, I'm now in my third job of my career, third company. Mm-hmm. 2 of the 3 companies I've looked up on social media before ever applying to them, right? Like, let me just see what are you about? Anytime that I've had a job interview, the hiring manager has always told me, we've got a great company. We've got great culture. We've got great benefits. People love working here. Great. I mean, they're not going to tell you otherwise. Like, they're not going to tell you like, oh, the culture's terrible. Everyone's working long day, blah, 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 everyone's miserable, all this stuff. No, everyone's going to tell you we're a great place to work. You're going to love it here, right? On social media, you can prove that. I can go on there and see, and hey, I saw this like, hey, here's the CEO of this company making pancakes for like their employees. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, hey, that spoke to me. And I said, that's a guy that I want to work for. I like that. I don't eat pancakes every day, but like that was a cool moment to say, okay, you're not just sitting in this tower, you're coming down, you're interacting with employees. That's the type of culture that I want to. Coming to One Team Media, seeing what TPG does. We just did a, video for the 4th of July, right? With people in the office. Yeah. People go crazy for that stuff. It's a great way to show that like,
because why though? Sorry to interrupt you. Because why? Why do people go crazy? Important?
Well, from a hiring standpoint and a talent acquisition standpoint, it showcases these are the people that you're going to be working with on a daily basis, and this is what you can experience. But then it also has an incredibly positive impact from an employee standpoint, because now I feel valued and honored, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm honored that you invited me onto this podcast. This is the first time that I've been invited onto a podcast, right? When you go out there, and I've done plenty of videos, hundreds of videos with people where they've said, your boss nominated you for a video. They go out there and they light up. They're like, really? So-and-so thought of me to do this? And now I get to go out there and be a representative of the company to the world? They love it.
Yeah.
It gets them so excited, right? So it's something where you're not only able to showcase your culture in the workplace that you are, but then you're also able to reward your employees that are already here and make them feel honored and privileged, because we are putting you on a pedestal and putting you out into the world, right?
Yeah, I mean, as far as engagement goes, like, you're talking about an engaged employee, and if you look at the research, right, only like 33%, of the workforce is engaged. Now you're maybe boosting that up. One, you're getting the right people because it does attract the culture. I mean, I've had that experience myself. I know it happens here. I've watched it ever since I've been here. Like the people in actually one of the young ladies that just started not too long ago over at TPG. She called me when she was interviewing. Hey, do you like?
Yeah.
I know you're
Yeah.
over there. I want to be. I
Yeah.
want to be part of that.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen
No.
when you don't have that this social media platform to make that come alive. I wanted to ask
Well, I
you
was going to say
something.
one quick note on
So
that
sure-
is,
yeah.
you know, it's a great way too to show career progression, right? So many people are saying, okay, I want to join a company, an organization, and you know, I'm looking to get in for, you know, this position or whatever, but how can you help me grow in the next 3, 5, and 10 years? This is an opportunity for you to go out there and say, hey, here's a testimonial of an employee sharing what their experience was like here. I come in an entry level position and now I'm, you know, a management level, you know, and I've been able to work through and I got, you know, the training and the professional development that I needed to, you know, get me to that next level, right? Okay. What prospective employee wouldn't want to work for an organization that's going to invest back into their employee and and promote them, right? That's an opportunity for you to share those success stories that already exist in your organization that people just may not be aware of.
Yeah, that was my question, was showcasing things. Is there anything else that we should, like, as we're starting out as contractors? Because as I talk to you, if I'm a contractor, I'm feeling better about social media because it doesn't fall on me.
Yeah.
Right. Because okay, my employees, that's engagement. Oh, okay.
Correct.
I can get
Yes.
behind that.
Yeah.
It's bringing new people in that are better than what I had and had to get rid of. I'm behind that. It doesn't all fall on me. It showcases the company. It showcases our people. It showcases the work that we do. It showcases how we live in our culture. Is there anything else that you can think of, like right off the bat, that companies should think about showcasing?
I mean, it's simple. Showcase your work, what it is that you do, and showcase who you are. If you can kind of answer those two questions with social media, then one of the easy strategies that you can think of and apply is to say, does this answer who we are and what we do? And as long as a post or a piece of content, some way, shape, or form goes back to those two questions, you're going to have a meaningful content creation experience because that's ultimately what people are interested in.
Well, what's it like so far working with the contractors?
I mean, it's been awesome.
TCS.
You know, I will say that selfishly, one of the fun things about doing video production is, so I work in the video space, but then all of the work that we produce is in all of these other different industries. And so like, I get to learn and like, I don't want to say become an expert, but I get to learn all of these things. You know, when I started here, I knew nothing about pavement. I know a little bit more about pavement today. You know, I'm not an expert. I shouldn't go on a job site. I shouldn't lead anything. But like, I kind of get it now. You know, I know what a lead boy paver is. That's pretty cool.
Great. So
that's
do
pretty
I.
cool. You know,
It is cool.
Full disclosure, wasn't aware of that beforehand. So, you know, you learn all of these things, and it was particularly great, you know, getting to meet everyone at the event in June. That was awesome. But it's been great to see people take their business and expand it through just branding themselves online, right? Chances are, and the majority of the folks that we work with, they've already got a great base. They've already got a great start. The hard work has already been done, and it's been done over, you know, in some cases, generations and decades. The easy part is now just telling people it.
Right.
And so it is so fun and rewarding to see that happen for people. You know, we recently did a shoot and an edit for someone. It got over like 50,000 views in, you know, 12 hours, right? Like it kind of blew up and went viral.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Nice.
totally unexpected, right? You know, like I'll be honest, like I wish I could tell you why that happened other than it was an interesting topic. And it's like, okay, so that was 50,000 new eyeballs on, you know, that company that had previously potentially never heard of them, never knew what they offered. And it's not just eyeballs in the sense of, oh, I'm watching, you know, OTA, over the air commercial, right? You're on social media. There's an immediate call to action of like, you can click on their profile and you can go directly to their website. You can immediately call them. You know, with a television, with a radio, there's some other process there's some other step that has been needed. With social media, you are one click away from being in direct contact and communication with that business.
And I would say for contractors, one of the reasons that I like working in the environment and with TCS is because the same work ethic and diligence and perseverance that these contractors have, they bring to what I'm off, what I help them with, but I've also seen it on the media side. And that's what that would be the encouragement I would give contractors. Is like, hey, look, if you have that work ethic, which a lot of them do that are coming in here, all of them do. The next progression, the easiest step is just to get involved and put that work ethic there and stop worrying about all the things. You have the expertise. Correct. As long as they put the work ethic out there, they're going to get the results.
And I will say, if you are, and this is a general statement, because I don't know what it's like to walk in your shoes, but I would imagine that if you're a contractor, taking a couple of photos will be one of the easiest things that you do that day. It just has to be. You are dealing with such bigger and grander things than snagging a couple of pictures. Yeah. So take a couple pictures. It will pay dividends in the end.
All right. You ready for the rapid fire questions?
Oh, no. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Means we're almost done.
Yeah. Here we go. I've got, 6 of them here. What's your favorite piece of gear in your production kit?
All right. I'm going to go with Leatherman and gaff tape, 2.
Okay. I did not expect that.
What were you thinking? Camera?
No, yeah, I thought you
did. It doesn't need to be that complicated. The Leatherman has saved my bacon plenty of times.
That's funny because I'm laughing because I heard you talking about it last week. I don't know if you were prepping for something or like, where's my Leatherman or something like.
You will hear me say like, where's my Leatherman all the time. Okay. And I was like, I just buy another one, like just to have like a few in a couple spots. Because I've got like one and it gets misplaced.
Most overused type of video in marketing right now.
Okay, so I get a lot of videos of it, and it will be like, my dad was an airline pilot, and here was his, like, favorite products or whatever. And it's just some, like, scheme to, peddle, like, an energy supplement. That's usually what it is. So I feel like I get a lot of these of like, oh, I worked in this industry, and here, let me tear back the veil of this industry and here's all the, the dirty secrets of it or whatever. And it's like, you're just trying to sell something. So.
Bucket list person or company you'd love to film?
Ooh, the person that I would love to film, particularly like in the film space, like I would love to film and just work with would be Quentin Tarantino. He's my favorite director. So like, I don't know how we could do that, but that would be like, that's the dream. That's the bucket list.
I will tell you, I would help you with scenes like he produces because I can blow stuff up and walk away from it. We could do that. Quentin Tarantino if that's a possibility.
I'm into that.
Yeah. Most creative shoot location you've been to?
Yeah. So I think the most creative, some of the studio spaces that we have where we can just like create and imagine anything that we want. I would say the most unique one is just like an outdoor ice rink in Alberta. That was pretty strange.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was cold. December in Alberta outside, on literally an ice rink.
Wow. One software or app you can't live without?
Ooh, my notes. Just my notes app. Apple Notes. Nothing fancy. Nothing crazy.
And the last one, finish this sentence. If a contractor wants to stand out online, they need to
start.
Very simple. Those are probably the simplest answers and most profound that I've had in a while in the rapid fire. So as we wrap up, any last thoughts? Well, first, how do folks connect with you?
Easy. OneTeamMedia.com. That's one with a number 1, not spelled out. So number 1, OneTeamMedia.com.
And I would say like the team is beefier than ever now, and beefy in a good way. Like you guys are doing great work. I'm watching you. Yeah, I see what you're producing every week. I watch the people that you're interacting with. Especially contractors, if you don't or kind of sitting on the fence or don't think this is something, just have a call. Like I'd be happy to sit on that call with them too, right? Any of our contractors and just talk through some of the things. But as you said, just get started. So any final encouragement for folks?
You don't need to overthink it. It doesn't need to be complicated. It can truly be as simple as you taking before, during, after shots, walking around a job site, maybe taking a little video, maybe doing a little narration or something like that. It doesn't need to be complicated. I would also say 2 tips. You want to get started on your own. Audio matters more than video. It's crazy, but it's the truth. Okay. Studies have shown that people will, if it's a bad video, they will just immediately scroll right by it. Excuse me, if it's a good video with bad audio, people will just immediately scroll by it. You need to have good audio. that can just, you can use your iPhone to get good audio. You can buy a cheap little clip-on microphone to get good audio, but audio is key. So make sure you're getting good audio. The second thing, add captions. Captions are also huge. A lot of people, despite audio being so important, a lot of people consume social media with their volume off, right? They're commuting to work, whatever it may be. So, make sure you're adding captions. Captions are huge in the algorithm. Those are 2 little tips and tricks to help promote your work.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thanks a bunch.
No problem.
You got through it.
Yes, I did.
All right. Well, thanks. That was very informative. I appreciate it. Hopefully we can have you guys back on the show again. But that's a wrap for today, guys, on the TCS podcast. Until next time, keep leading, keep growing, and keep winning. We'll see you next time.